Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Welcome to another episode of Crypto Trading in CryptoTraders Room. It's your host, Crypto Trader, aka Jonas. Happy Wednesday. Hopefully everybody's doing well. But yeah, if you're a new-time viewer, welcome to the channel. I'm glad you found us. And don't forget to click on that subscribe button, as well as the post notification. And stay connected with us on Steemit, Twitter, as well as Facebook. But yeah, let's see who we got in the room today. And then we'll get on with this very important topic. And it's a topic that I had a conversation with a buddy of mine who got into trading, and he was kind of telling me about, some of the mistakes that he's made, and I was telling him about some of the mistakes that I've made. And I thought it was a very important topic to kind of cover with a lot of new traders coming on to this market, and things to kind of avoid and things to kind of be careful of as a new trader, because this game can really take you out. Andrea, welcome. CS Sika or CS Sequel, welcome, buddy. Great to see new names on this live stream. Stefan, as always, welcome, buddy. Hope you guys are doing well. But yeah, some major moves in this market, some major moves, and hopefully everybody's reaping the benefits if you're holding, with some of these cryptocurrencies. But yeah, let's get on to this very important topic, and then we'll kind of look at the chart and look at see where BTC and Ethereum as well too, where they might be heading. Sky's the limit for them right now, especially with BTC kind of making all new time highs. But and I want you guys to share your experience as well too. Some of the mistakes you might have made. If you feel comfortable sharing those mistakes, if you don't, I completely understand. You don't have to share them at all. But if you feel comfortable sharing them, just so that everybody else is able to learn from the mistakes that traders make, and collectively, we all make different mistakes, and we all break our rules. It doesn't really matter if you're a seasoned trader or an investor, whatever it might be. We all tend to break these little rules that we kind of set for ourselves, and emotion takes control. Robert, welcome. Oliver Mart, welcome. Glad to see new names on here. And if you guys haven't done so, click on that subscribe button. But I'm going to run down through a list of some of the things, some of the mistakes that I see some of the new time traders kind of make, getting into this market, or really any market that they are trading. And if there's a mistake that you made, and you want me to kind of talk about it and see if there's ways to make it a little better, in the sense of trying to avoid those mistakes from happening, and what was the best solution in that situation, what you should have done. I'll give you my honest opinion of what I would have done personally if I was in that situation. And I'll talk about one of the situations that I was kind of just recently put in with Sand, and the plan that I had, and and I basically stuck to that plan, and I didn't break that rule. Whatever plan that I set, for Sand, that was the plan that I was sticking with, unless something else was telling me that not to stick with that plan. But one of the mistakes that a lot of new traders do make is chasing something that's run up so fast. A lot of things will run up so quick, so fast, and unless you're already in that position, there's no sense of chasing it right away. Wait for a pullback. Wait to see exactly where is majority of the selling happening, at what possible price point, and let that trade come to you instead of chasing it. Buying at all-time high and selling at basically at the low. So a lot of new traders that are coming onto this market, basically they'll see something running up, and they end up buying it at the high, basically. Sometimes they get lucky, and it ends up running up a little further than that. And some of them will be smart enough and say, what, I just made 10, 15%. I'm going to lock in that profit. Some traders might get a little greedy, or new traders might get a little greedy and just say, oh, you know what, this could go from 75 cents to $1 to $1.50, $2, and they stick with it, and they stick with it as it's going up and up and up. And that's the wrong strategy to have. You want to definitely scale out of that position. Start locking in some profit. Don't sell everything, but start locking in some of the profits, because you really don't know at what point is this thing going to really turn around and start breaking down and going against you. So you got to lock in those profits. But yeah, a lot of traders will buy something that's just run up so high, and it's basically broke its all-time high, and they buy at the high, and then it tends to break down. And that's a lot of times that's what they do. They'll run up so high, they'll go parabolic, and then they break down, and then the trader will end up selling at a low that they shouldn't sell. So they're buying high and selling low. Now, unless you're shorting, that's not a bad strategy. But if you're not shorting, and you're a long-term investor, and you're in it for buying low and selling high, that's definitely not the strategy to take when something's running up and you're buying it very high and it crashes on you, and then you end up selling. You panic. But yeah, I could have easily panicked on Sand, and we'll talk about that after we get through some of these mistakes that new traders do make. The other mistake that I see and that I've heard about is trying to catch a falling knife. Something has fallen so hard, so fast. There's a reason why it's fallen that fast. And a lot of traders, or new traders, as I should say, are not aware of where where there might be a soft support, where there might be a hard support, and they don't allow it to kind of settle down and come to them. If something is dropping heavily, they just kind of get into it thinking, that's the bottom. More likely, it's not the bottom, but there is a bottom. You just kind of have to figure out, okay, in what price range do I think this is going to bottom out, by looking at the probabilities of the order book, as well as the support and resistance. The other mistake is overstaying a position in a pump and dump. And some of us, I don't really take part in a pump and dump, but if you have taken part in a pump and dump and really didn't realize it was a pump and dump, and you just happen to be in that position before it gets pumped, more than likely it's going to come crashing back down. Some of these things that are going up 300-400%, they do come crashing back down. And when they come crashing back down, that's a time when a lot of new traders will panic and sell. But, not to overstay that pump and dump. I mean, a lot of these pump and dumps are up, 50, 60, 70, 100, 150, 200%. Be happy with those gains. If you're up 200% within a matter of several hours or a couple of minutes, take those profits and run. Do not overstay that trade. It's a pump and dump. They're going to pump it, and you got in at the right time, for the push up, but yet don't stay for the dump. Some other mistakes is going all in in a trade. And I've made some of these mistakes too. I'll be honest with you guys. As a new trader, years ago, I've made these mistakes. So going all in on a trade, seeing something that's running or seeing something that's dropping and putting all of your money, whatever it is, $2,000, $3,000, whatever you have, putting it all at one price point. That's really not the right strategy. You want to get your feet wet and get a little bit of a position in that trade, because maybe you figured out, what, this is where the major support is. I'm going to take a position here. So instead of going all in at that, what you think is possibly a major support, which might not be a major support, but going all in at that support line could really come back and haunt you. The best thing to do is kind of scale into that position, put a little bit in, maybe, 20% of your position, see what it does. And if it goes up, that's great. If it goes down, you have more capital to add to that position and lower your cost average. So that's one thing I highly recommend, is do not go all in as a new trader. As a seasoned trader who's been trading for a while, I have gone all in, and I've definitely benefited from that. I've taken a large position at a single price point because that was a price point that I believed in after looking at different probabilities. But as a new trader, you're not going to be looking at all the different types of probabilities that are out there to determine if that's a good price for you. Now, it could have definitely backfired. But I was patient with it. I didn't just go all in at the soft support. I went all in at a very hard support. So yeah, not going all in. I don't recommend it at all for a new trader. And even for an experienced trader, occasionally here and there to do it. Yes, it's not bad, but continuously doing it, it'll come back and bite you. Eventually it does. Other mistake is not having a plan, not having really a good plan of your entry, and not having a plan of where you're going to exit and how are you going to exit out of that position. Are you going to sell everything? Are you going to sell 15% of it? Are you going to sell 20% of your position at certain key levels of resistance? Because at those resistance, it is going to pull back a little bit. And then it might gear up again and take another run. So, by selling 20% of your position, you've locked in the profit at the first resistance. And if it dips down and it dips down a good amount, you can add more to that position. But if it decides to go back up, what you have, or if you sell and it decides to go up from where you sold, you still have the majority of your position, where you're able to basically get a bigger slice of that pie. And the other plan is really not sticking to that plan. So if you have a plan of execution, stick to that plan. It's very hard to break it. We're all humans. We're going to break it. We're not bots that are trading, that are programmed. We're going to break it. But the best thing to do is to stay focused and try not to break those plans that you've basically set for yourself. Other mistake is, and I don't recommend it, is margin, leveraging too much on margin, way too much. So if you do have access to margin as a new trader, stay away from it, completely stay away from it. I mean, you guys have seen what happened to me. You've seen what happened to, a lot of traders, if they even talked about it, to be honest with you. I think I was the only one that I know of that talked about the loss that I took. Not a lot of people on YouTube, were live streaming at that point and talking about the losses that they took. So stay away from margin. I highly recommend it because it could bite you at any time. And when these flash crashes happen, they're going to happen when you least expect it. And they're crashing within a millisecond, and if you're a margin, they're going to instantly liquidate you. And that's what happened. I mean, my trade was probably active for, I would say, maybe a half a second to a second, if even that. I mean, it was executed and then it was liquidated, within a matter of a fraction of a second. So, flash crashes can happen. And if you just happen to be on the wrong trade or in the wrong cryptocurrency and you're heavily leveraged on margin, that will definitely bite you back. I mean, I took a huge loss, thank goodness Coinbase, kind of made it right and did the honorable thing. But yeah, I mean, I could be down a lot more. So stay away from margin. The other thing is trading too much, trading completely too much, too many trades within a day, not really being patient with those trades and not really looking for the right setup that are going to be very profitable. You might take 6 or 7 or 8 trades and be profitable on 2 or 3, but those profits that you took on those 2 or 3 are going to be a lot less than the actual losses that the losses that you took. So your losses might be higher because you end up taking, 6 losses and you only had 2 or 3 wins on those trades. So don't overtrade, wait for the right setup, be patient, for that to come to you. And when it does, then definitely execute on that trade and stick to your plan. The other thing is FOMOing and following the crowd, following the herd. And that's kind of, on the same line of, chasing a pump. You're following the crowd, you're FOMOing out of the mouth. So stay away from pumps unless you happen to be in that pump, before they actually pumped it. Yeah, and that's basically all that I have. And if you guys want to share some of the things that, mistakes that you might have made and, how you bettered yourself and how you learned from that mistake that you made, please share it with us. And, I'd be happy to kind of go over it with you. But yeah, let's see what's in the comment. The Warple, welcome, buddy. Antone, welcome. Matt, welcome. Great to see you guys on here. Is it a good strategy to use trailing stop loss? That's a great question. Let's see. You started doing that, you get about 5 to 10% depending. Yes and no. It all depends on what strategy you're playing. So on a trailing stop, and some of you might not know what a trailing stop is. Basically, you can set, let's just say hypothetically, there's a crypto for $10 and you got in at $10 and it starts to move up. So you can say, I want this to trail by, $1. So it'll always trail it by $1. So as the price of that cryptocurrency goes up, your sell price also goes up. So if the price is 10 and you set a trailing sell limit at, by $1, then your sell is $9 and your sell will stay at $9 unless the price moves up. If the price moves down from $10, then your price of sale is still going to be that $9. It will not move down. It can only move up. So as the price goes up from 10 to 11, your sell price just moved up to $10. As the price goes up from 11 to 12, your sell price just moved up to $11. So it'll trail it by that buck or by whatever you decide to set it as. And it's not a wrong strategy to play, to be honest with you, but I wouldn't use it all the time. I've used it in the past on something that's really flying very high so fast. If something is just kind of, slowly but surely grinding to the upside, there's no sense of using those trailing stop losses because, occasionally what they do is they do dip and they have that nice little violent dip. And basically it's whales that are trying to take out stop losses. That's basically what it is. And you got to remember that this market is so manipulated and you got to try to kind of figure out what these manipulations are. But if something is grinding up to the upside and you have a trailing stop, of 50 cents, it can easily trigger that easily. I mean, it could easily come down within one candlestick. So I wouldn't use trailing stop losses on something that's just gradually moving up. But if something's going parabolic, then yes, because if something goes so parabolic, more than likely it's going to end up dipping hard. So that's kind of the way I play it. But I mean, every trader has their own strategy. But yeah, I wouldn't use it too much. David, hello. Sarah from South Africa. Good morning or good afternoon. Ivan, welcome. Entered into IOTA. We're going to take a look at IOTA because when I saw it, I was like, man, this thing really dipped to 70 cents. within one candlestick. And, and if somebody had a trailing stop loss, more than likely, it would have gotten executed. And the thing is about trailing stop loss, Andrea, I forgot to mention, is that, there could be slippage. So it could slip past that price. So then more than likely it wouldn't be executed at the price that you wanted to execute at. Rocky Mountain, welcome, buddy. Jim, you're too greedy. Greed will kill you, man. Not literally kill you, but it'll take your money. Greed will seriously, you'll end up losing a lot more money if you're greedy. Don't overstay that trade. I mean, there are traders, I'm sure, that have been up, 150%, and they still stay in that trade. They don't lock in profit. I'm not saying sell everything at once. I would never sell everything at once unless I really needed that money for something else. But I would start scaling out of that position. I would just start selling a little bit, just a little bit. And then as the price starts going higher and higher, I would start selling a little bit more. And as the price goes a little more higher, I would sell a little bit more. So the higher it goes, the more that I'm going to sell. And that way I'm able to get a bigger slice of the pie. And honestly, nobody's able to determine where the bottom is, where the top is. Nobody can. Somebody tells you this is the bottom, and it's not going to go further than this, they're lying to you. Nobody knows exactly where the top is, where the bottom is, where it's going to correct from. You just got to basically look at all different probabilities and take a little bit of a position to see if the position that you're taking is actually the bottom. And if it's not, then you have more funds to add on to it. But yeah, we'll take a look at IOTA because I did see that drop on the chart down to 70 cents. What exchanges have trailing stop functionality? Bitfinex, Kraken. Those are the only two that I know of. Poloniex, I think. I don't think Bittrex has it. But yeah, if you guys know of any, definitely let Stefan know. Ark, welcome, buddy. Hope all's well. Keebs, we're doing great, man. Hopefully you're doing well. Good morning from California. It's early for you. What time is it there? 7 o'clock, 7:47. But yeah, thanks for waking up early. But yeah, if you guys want to share, some of the issues that you guys might have had on a trade, and then we can talk about, the best strategy to kind of take on dealing with, that type of mistake. But yeah, so, we'll go ahead and take a look at Ether real quick, and then we'll take a look at IOTA and SAN, or SAN and IOTA. And I'll talk about the position. Maybe we'll take a look at SAN after Ether, and I'll talk about the positions that I took and the strategy that I had for it. But yeah, let me go ahead and kind of get rid of the chat a little bit so we can look at this at a bigger scale. But yeah, this is something I did a while ago. I can't remember how long ago it was. I just plotting out the support and the resistance just so I had an idea of where those were. Quick reference guide, basically, instead of having to try to determine it. If for some apparent reason, which I don't think it will, decides to take a tumble, then I kind of know where, areas of support might be. And that's usually the magic word, where they might be, and where I would probably be looking to take a little bit of a position, to kind of start building on a larger position. But last time when I talked about this, I basically said that it had to break out above the 365 and maintain that 365, because that was the area that, if it was able to break it, that was the area that it was basically it was very bullish. Above that resistance of 365, or if it can maintain that 365 and stay above it and not get to it and come crashing back down. So, we're not at the level of where it would be extremely bullish yet. That would have to break 411 on Bitfinex. I think on Coinbase it was $420 that it has to break. So depending on what exchange you're looking at, the support and resistance can be a little different. Now the pattern will look the same, but the actual price point is going to be just a little different. But that 365 is right here, and it got to it. It wasn't a big break, and that's one thing that's a little scaring me a little bit. It wasn't a big break. And we're looking at a 3-hour candlestick, so each candlestick represents 3 hours worth of price action movement. Let me see if I can get this a little better. But yeah, above that 365, it wasn't a big break. It wasn't a confirmed breakout. for me to say, wow, this is getting to that level of being extremely bullish. So even though we are very bullish right now, it's still maintaining and it's still moving sideways, which is great. I mean, this consolidation is looking good for another leg up, another leg push. And this thing could easily push, 30, 40 bucks. I mean, that's with ease. And if it does that, it's breaking all-time high on Bitfinex, which is 411 bucks. So, I mean, this is gearing up. And as long as it's consolidating above that 365 and maintaining the 365, which is doing very well currently right now, this will have a big push. And I can definitely see this thing, hitting all-time high on Bitfinex. I don't know if it will on Coinbase, but hitting all-time high on Bitfinex, before this weekend. Maybe by Friday night, I can definitely see that, getting up, as long as there isn't anything crazy major that's happening within the cryptocurrency market. As long as the support is there and it holds at 365, then yeah, the sky's the limit for this. So what was the high today that we hit, or it might have been yesterday? 390 bucks. So I mean, it was only really 21 bucks away from hitting that all-time high, and that's nothing for it. That's a push within 2 to 3 candlesticks on a half-hour chart or 15-minute chart. Tony, I just started. Yes, 10:30 was the start of this live stream. Keeves, you've been up since 4. Oh, dude, I don't know how you do it, man. That's tough. I'm usually up by like 5:30, 5:45. Not by choice, though. It's not by choice. Believe me, I'd rather sleep in. Have I ever looked at VGB? A while back. I've looked at a lot of cryptocurrencies on different live streams. And I really can't put them on the title because, you're very limited to how you can title or how many characters you can actually fit on the title. But I look at all different types of cryptocurrencies. But yeah, we can take a look at DGB. Not currently right now, but maybe before the live stream ends. Keebs, yeah, if you're trading the market. Yeah, so when I was trading the market, I was up for pre-market. And I use Scott Trade. So Scott Trade will allow me to trade at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. was pre-market. Some of the exchanges didn't really allow you to trade until 8, but 6 a.m. was great. So I would wake up at like 5, start doing my research and see what was moving. But yeah, if you're out in California, then man, trading the East Coast stock market is not good for your sleep habit. You'd have to go to sleep early, go to sleep real early. Yeah, ARK, I completely agree. I think it'll break, especially on Bitfinex. It'll break all-time high. I mean, it was only 10 bucks away from really getting to 400 bucks on Bitfinex. So 20 bucks move, $21 move for it. It's nothing. Like I said, as long as nothing crazy, nothing major happens, it'll make that type of move, and it'll make that move, basically when I'm sleeping. Some of these moves that some of these cryptocurrencies make, it's like 3:30 in the morning, Eastern time zone for me. Then I look at the candlestick and I'm like, wow, they really took this up at this time. And, sometimes they drop them, like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. OMG. Yeah, that was actually on my list earlier to take a look at OMG. Cause it flew. It flew. Vertcoin, I don't know. I haven't looked at Vertcoin in a while, so I'll have to kind of take a look at it. But more than likely, I mean, if it went up to $1 and then, came down to where it was, yeah, it was a pump and dump. Yeah, from 30 cents to $1, and then if it came back down to 30 cents, that's a pump. Oh, and then the dump. Do I think NEO will bounce back? Oh man. No, nobody asked that question. You know what? I'm going to put that on the list. And I think I do have NEO chart up, actually. I was looking at it earlier. And yeah, I mean, is Asia losing faith? Or is this, I mean, we'll look at it because it did drop heavily. And that should be the first indicator of more trouble to come. And usually when I see something drop heavily and it doesn't come right back up to where it dropped from, yeah, there's more trouble on the horizon. Something that we don't know of, something that somebody knows, and more than likely we're never going to find out. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at sand. I'll talk about the position. Then we'll take a look at OMG, IOTA, DGB, Vertcoin, and NEO. And then that's probably going to be it unless there's more time left. Andreas, we'll cover IOTA. And I mean, I remember telling somebody, you know, it likes to retest at 77. And it definitely broke through that 77. It didn't stop at all. All right, so 4809 is basically where we're at on sand. So in regards to sand, you know, I saw it running. Of course, you know, I got out of my large position due to FUD that was put out by Bitfinex. Unfortunately, I would have held it, and I would have probably sold at 50 cents because 50 cents would have given me 100% profit. I wouldn't have held it for 55, 58. I would have had no clue, but I would have been extremely happy with 100% profit. Even though I was happy with, you know, what I took, like $900 profit on it. But yeah, it was early. I got out early because of the situation. But so, you know, considering Bitfinex was going to allow me to trade it and they weren't barring me from trading it currently right now, and they kind of retracted that statement saying, you know, anybody that was basically an EOS or IOTA had to sell by August 16th. They retracted that statement. So, you know, I saw this thing running and running and I was like, man, I can't believe, you know, I got, you know, basically shaken out of my position and this thing is going to run to $1. So I decided to basically not go all in, but I took a small position. And, you know, I mean, it might not be a small position to a lot of people, but to me, it was a small position. It was only 2,000 coins at 55 cents. So 55 cents, I bought 2,000, you know, to see if it was going to, because basically it went up to 58. And I was like, okay, you know what, it's pulling back a little bit. Let's see if it actually gears up for another push. So I bought 2,000. Now, if I would have gone all in, I would have had to cut my loss. I mean, this thing dropped to 42 cents. I would have had to cut my loss. I wouldn't have had any money to add on to that position. So I bought 2,000 at 55 cents. And then my plan of execution was basically, you know, or my plan of action on this was that if it goes up, that's great. You know, I made just a little bit of money because I only bought 2,000 coins. But if this thing dips, I got to lower my cost average. I still want to hold on to this. I still firmly believe that it's going to have that push to $1. And at $1, I would be completely out. So what I needed to do was basically add to the position if it was going to drop. And it did drop, of course. So when it dropped to 45 cents, I bought 2,000 more. So I basically kind of lowered my cost average to 50 cents, basically, you know, because I bought the same amount that I bought at 55 cents and I bought it at, you know, 45 cents. So it lowered my cost, a difference of 10 cents, lowered my cost average basically by 5. So 50 cents was my cost average and I had 4,000 coins at that point. And it started to push up higher and I was like, okay, this is great. I'm in a good position. It's going up a little higher, but let's see what it's going to maintain. And it decided to maintain that 45 cents and it maintained it pretty well. So I kind of told myself, you know what, if this thing gets down to 45 cents again, I'm going to add another position to it to lower my cost average down to 48, a little over 48. It's like 48.34, you know, or 48.4, something to that extent. So then I added 2,000 more at 45 cents and I still had funds left over. Now it broke through the 45 cents, you know, after I added it and it kind of pushed up a little bit. It broke through that 45 cents and it got to 42 cents. And I was like, all right. So it broke that resistance that I thought was a very good the support, which I thought was a very good support at 45 cents. You know, I added basically double the amount of the position that I had to get a good cost average of 48 cents. Now, when it dipped to 42 cents, I was like, all right, you know, let's see how this plays out. I'm not going to panic. I'm not going to sell. I still believe in this thing and it still has the potential to move up higher. So I basically told myself, you know, if this thing drops to 40 cents, I'm going to add more to it and have a lower cost average of 45 cents. It never got to that point. And then, of course, it, you know, it's trending nicely currently right now at the moment. And what I thought it would do was basically I thought it would come down here and kind of get wedged in here. Basically, you know, this is a trend line that I drew out from the high that it made and just kind of took it to the high of the candlesticks where it was trending downwards and then the bottom of the candlesticks. And then there was that wedge there. So I thought it would kind of hit that wedge and get pushed up. That's why I added more at 45 cents. But then it ripped through that 45 cents and came down to 42 cents. But right now it's holding pretty steady. So, I mean, I'm not up, I'm down, I think like 20 bucks, something to that extent. But if this thing does crash further, then I'm going to add more to that position. But now if we do get a nice run up, considering I have a average price of 48 cents, if this thing gets up to the high of 58, then I'm going to be looking to lock in a quarter of my position. So I have 6,000 coins currently right now. At 60 cents or 58 cents, I will be looking to lock in some of the profit because I have a cost average of 48 cents. If it gets up to 58 cents, that's basically 10 cents per coin profit. So I'll lock in a quarter of my position and then leave the other 3/4 to see if it's going to have a bigger push to the upside. And if it doesn't, if it decides to pull back down, then I'll add more to that position as well too. But I think Sand is something I'm going to be playing heavily, whether I'm going to be adding to the position or taking a profit and locking in some of the profit. And then if it dips down again, adding more with the profit and the capital that I basically captured from it. So that's the strategy that I have for this. But even if this thing dips to 35 cents, I'm not going to panic. I'm going to add more to that position, and I'll probably have a lower cost average of 40 cents. So that is kind of the plan for this. But let me get to the comments, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at IOTA and OMG. You love F today. Yeah, F has been doing very well, very well. And, I'm still holding that position, and I will probably still continue to hold that position. Yeah, it's gearing up. It's gearing up for a major push. And it has come up. I mean, anybody that bought this thing when it was dipping, hardcore, it got to 130 on Coinbase. Even if you bought it, more than likely you're not going to catch that 130, but you could have bought it 140, 150, 160, 170. You could have really bought it, anywhere between, 140 to 200 bucks, and still be great in this position and be up way over 50%. So yeah, anybody that caught this thing at like 150, I mean, they're doing pretty well as long as they held on to that position. Oni, good morning, buddy. You passed out when OMG hit all-time high. Forgot to put a sell order in. Oh no. Always have a sell order in. Always. Whether it's, especially, if you got them very low, because what did it hit? Like 12 bucks, almost 12 bucks. I think it hit. Tony, good afternoon. Welcome from the UK. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at IOTA. And then we'll take a look at OMG and then DGB, NEO, and Vertcoin. So IOTA. So yeah, that's 77 cents. That was a very solid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I covered this on the previous live stream. So anything that's on here was from the previous live stream on Monday. But yeah, that 77 cents, it loves to retest it numerous times or get very close to it. So, I wasn't going to buy this thing a while back. I was waiting for 75 cents. That's really what I was waiting for. On this candlestick here, the low was 75 cents. But 77 cents is really the average that it kind of like to come down to. And then on this candlestick, so let's get a little granular here. We'll do 5 minutes just real quick so we can see that dump. Actually, maybe a minute. But yeah, unless you have an order in the book, there's really no way to catch these. I mean, they come down fast and then they go up just as fast, unless you're really at your computer watching it and you see it dip in, and then you're able to catch it on the way up. Where's that dip down to 70 cents? Yeah, issue with Bitfinex is it takes a while for this chart to load, especially if you're trying to get very granular with it. But yeah, here's that dip, and that was at, let me make sure I'm on Eastern time zone. Yep, perfect. I mean, it basically went from 80 cents down to 70 cents, a drop of 10 cents within a matter of 10 minutes, 9 minutes, something to that extent. I mean, so, unless you're awake, and this happened, let's see what time. 4:35, it looks like. So 4:40, and I did not see that for some reason. I don't think that time is right. because I remember seeing this thing. It was at like 7 a.m. I think. But yeah, that was a drop. So unless you had a low, now if you had a low ball offering of 70 cents, no way, it wouldn't have gotten executed. I mean, it didn't reach 70 cents, but it reached basically 70.5 cents. But 71 cents, you would have definitely had it executed. So, these low ball offers definitely come in handy. They can definitely pay off. They're not going to happen every single time, but they do happen. So you got somebody that just basically has a very good profit, and they decided to sell everything they had. Instead of kind of scaling out of their position and selling a little bit, they decided to sell a lot more, and that's what causes this crazy panic. And then stop losses get taken out, they get triggered, and then you got big buyers that are just lining up, and then they buy everything back up. But yeah, with IOTA, I would still be patient with it. I would still kind of, that 77 cents, 75 cents is really what I would wait for. Now, if you decide to take a position here, which you can, I've taken a position on sand at a very high price. Just don't go all in. I mean, don't go all in at all. I gotta get this chart to cooperate with me. But yeah, I mean, with any cryptocurrency, I mean, you can take a position really at any time, but I wouldn't recommend taking a big position. Just take a little bit of a position, kind of get your feet wet, and then if it goes up, that's great. You're not going to make a lot of money, but at least, you have something that you're following. And then if it does dip further, then you can add to it. I definitely wouldn't play that strategy on a pump and dump. So, stay away from anything on, Polonius or Bittrex that's being pumped and dumped, because that's really, fundamental analysis kind of goes out the window. Technical analysis goes out the window when it's being pumped and then dumped, especially technical analysis. I mean, there's nothing you can do, if you're in something that's being pumped. The technical aspect of it just kind of, it will not work out in your favor. Yeah, this thing is still trending, and it's still trending upwards. So as long as it holds 80 cents, it's got the ability to get back up to that 90 cents, 95 cents. But that 94 cents is going to be a resistance for it. So, if you're in that position, if you end up getting a position at like 75 cents, I mean, at 94 cents, 95 cents, I would be looking to lock in some of the profit. That's a 20-cent profit right there per coin. And if it goes up higher, you still have some more left that you can sell at a higher price. I wouldn't recommend selling everything. Now, you can sell everything, and I've done it in the past. I've sold everything, and it dips. And I'm like, whew, I got out. That's great. I got out at the top just about. And there's times where I'll sell everything, and it just keeps going up and up. And I'm like, man, why did I sell everything? I could have had a higher of a profit. I could have had a bigger slice of that pie. So scaling out, scaling in is really the best strategy, to be honest with you. That's something I would highly recommend. Scale into a position and then scale out of a position. But yeah, I mean, this thing came down quick, and it went right back up, So that 77 cents is still going to be a crucial level for it to maintain. And as long as she can maintain that 77 cents, I mean, she can have another big push up. What's RSI? RSI is, let me pull up RSI actually. And we'll pull it up on IOTA. Let's look at maybe a 3-hour chart. So RSI is a relative strength index. Basically, it measures the strength between the buyers and the sellers of the price action movement. When RSI, and the thing is, in the cryptocurrency market, you kind of have to tweak it. And it all depends which cryptocurrency you are trading. But normally the rule of thumb is, anything above 70 is completely overbought. So usually a lot of traders are looking to take a profit when something gets up to an RSI of 70 or higher. When it gets to an RSI of 30, then it's completely oversold. And that's where that's where traders kind of look to get in at an RSI of 30 or below. They look to basically get in a position. And then RSI of 70 or higher, they look to get out of a position. But, in the cryptocurrency market, every cryptocurrency is going to be different in the sense of, are they going to follow that same rule of the 70 and 30? Or sometimes is it 80 and 20? And a lot of times, they could be 80 and 20. So as we see on on IOTA here, 20 seems to be the bottom. So 20 is the new 30 for IOTA. And then 80 is the new 70 for IOTA because it gets up to 80 and above and it crashes. It gets up to 80 and it comes back down. It gets up above 80, it gets back down. So that 80 is really the level where it's completely overbought. So, or I'm sorry, yeah, overbought. So traders are looking to get out. But sometimes, I mean, it could be very misleading. I mean, if we look at, and this is a 3-hour candlestick that we're looking at. So, I mean, if a trader, and RSIs are lagging, you got to remember that. So this is not a true indicator. This is not something you should just follow. Yes, you could make a little bit, but more likely you're going to end up missing a bigger push. And as we see on IOTA here, so right about at this level, I think it was like 39 cents. So 39 cents, it basically peaked out. RSI was at 85, a little bit above 85, it looks like. Can't get my cursor to that exact point. But yeah, over 85 was the RSI. And normally, you would see a bigger dip. You should see a bigger dip in the candlestick. But there isn't a bigger dip in a candlestick at all. And that's right over here. I mean, really, it just kind of consolidated. It dipped just a little bit from that 39 cents. It dipped to 36 cents. That's not much of a drop at all. It should have dropped a lot bigger. So the RSI really would have been misleading if you would have sold everything. And that's why I never recommend selling everything. So if you're going to play the RSI and the RSI only, then I would not recommend following this to a T and selling everything, because as we can see here, it's a little misleading. We should have had a bigger of a price drop, but as we can see, the RSI came down to about 60-ish as the price was still climbing up higher, and it still maintained it. But a lot of times when you're looking at a cryptocurrency and the RSI topping out above 80, more than likely you're going to see the RSI come back down to the 50-40 as the price is also dipping down further. But you also got to be careful with an RSI. If the RSI is going up, if the price of the price action of a cryptocurrency is going up, but the RSI is dipping down, that tells you that there's more of a drop to come, and it's just basically FOMO buyers that are taking the price up. But it's in completely oversold territory, if the RSI is dipping. But yeah, it's not an indicator that I would truly follow 100%. Just use it as a guideline to other indicators that you would basically look at. Let's see, the other part of the question was, I gotta find the comment first. Something about volume. If there's an indicator for volume, I think was your question. Okay, volume indicator. So basically, I mean, I look at the volume bar, the chart here, the mountain chart, whatever it is that you want to call it. But this is a good indicator for me. So depending on what time frame you're looking at, it's going to basically tell you, what the volume is. So if we look at a 1-day candle, 1 day's worth of price action per candlestick, we can tell exactly what the volume is on a daily basis. And as the volume is increasing, it should have momentum to the upside. If the volume is decreasing, then, more likely the price is going to end up dipping. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. As you can see, I mean, the volume kind of leveled out here, and these are on the daily candlesticks. So you can kind of, get to that candlestick. And if you look at the top left, it'll tell you exactly what the volume is. So on this candlestick here, the volume was 8.6 million, a little over 8.6 million. And as we keep going on, the volume stays, pretty steady. And as we see, it starts to climb up. And as volume is increasing, then the price action is going to increase. And that's a bullish move to the upside. As volume is decreasing, the price will also decrease. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. So volume kind of topped out right here, but it still made a nice run up to that $1.10. And as we can see, volume has been slowly but surely just losing momentum, just grinding down. So as volume is losing, we should see this chart gradually start to decline. But if volume increases, then we'll get a nice push up to the upside. But yeah, that's kind of what I use for volume. But I definitely look at the daily candlesticks on volume to determine, okay, what, are we increasing in volume or are we decreasing in volume? And then is there a majority selling that's happening on this particular day, or is there more buying that's happening on this particular day? And the color of the candlesticks will kind of indicate to you if there's more selling than buying that goes on within that day. Ricky Moo on your end, Oni. Yeah, dude, we all make mistakes. Just don't let it bother you. That's one thing I would recommend. Don't let it bother you at all. Mistakes will happen. Next time you just know that. You know what? Have a very high sell order, and also don't forget to put in those low ball buy offers. I mean, I always put in a low ball buy offer. I put a low ball buy offer in on BTC at $3,400, and actually I did it on both exchanges. I did it on Bitfinex as well as on Coinbase, and it had a violent dip, and that was just recently. It dipped to 3,600 on Bitfinex and 3,580 on Coinbase, and I had a buy and offer at 34. Now, if it would have dipped to 34 or a little under 3,400, I would have woke up with I think like 2.3 BTCs, something to that extent. That would have been great because it came right back up. Now I kind of kicked myself and said, man, why didn't I put that buy in at 2,600? Why? I'm sorry, 3,600. Why did I put it in at 3,400? I kind of kicked myself, and I was like, man, I'm like, these dips happen, but it's just hard to determine exactly, where's it going to dip to. Now, if I put it at 36, it could have easily hit that 36 and then came down to 34. But as we know with BTC, I mean, it can drop $700-800 and then come right back up. Let's take a look at that real quick before we get on to OMG. And this was the dip right here. That's when I had that buy and offer. So it got to $35.99, $3,600. Now, if it would have got to that 34, and this is the level that I was playing basically, and we're looking at a one-day candlestick. So this consolidation here, let's actually look at this a little better. 1 hour. Because I want you guys to know why I picked that 3,400 and not, 3,800 or 4,000. Now, I was being extremely conservative. Now, I could have put in that offer at 36, but I wanted to be very conservative and try to catch a bottom. That's what I was trying to do. And I was basically playing this right here. This is exactly what I was playing. When it broke out, above this 3483, it completely broke out above it. And I was like, all right, you know what? If she does come down, there's a possibility she could come down to the 3,400 and kind of level out here, or not level out, but, get to it and then kind of get right back up to where she came from. And that's exactly what she did. She got the 3,600 and started breaking all new time high. And that's just an impressive move. So, BTC can do this. And I highly recommend putting in these low ball offers where you see the major support. And I'm not talking about a soft support, so like I wouldn't put an offer in to buy it at 4,200, even though, that might be, one of the soft supports. I want to play, maybe the third area of support, maybe the fourth area of support. So I wouldn't put it in at $4,200, but before I go to bed, I will probably do the 39. So $3,900 is probably what I'm going to put a buy offer in. Now, if I want to be very conservative, I'm going to put it in for 36, maybe a little bit over 36. But yeah, this 34 was what I was waiting to see if it would violently dip at early in the morning, and this is basically 1 a.m. That happened. So these dips can happen. It's just a matter of are you positioned? Do you have an order in the book? And if it gets to that order, it's going to execute. I mean, it's happened to me numerous times on Litecoin and Ether. I mean, I was able to get Ether really cheap when it heavily came down. I think it was like getting ready to break out over $100, and I put an offer in for 77. And it got to like $75, and I woke up, was like, whoa, all right, I got a good amount of Ether. This is great. All right, let me get to some of the questions, and then we'll take a look at OMG. But yeah, put in these low ball buy offers, and if you want to be extremely conservative, 3,450, 3,500, I would say is very conservative for BTC. Putting in an offer under 3,000, yeah, I don't think you're going to have a chance of having it executed. Not anytime soon, unless really the chart decides to break down and kind of hover in the 3,600. Then yes, you might have a chance. But at the current high that it's at $4,500, it's not going to get to 3,000. Within a matter of 2 to 3 candlesticks. But you do have the opportunity, or it does possibly have the opportunity to get to that $3,900. $3,900 is only $600 drop for BTC. That's nothing. And then it comes right back up and starts breaking new time high. Osiris, not a problem, man. And if you guys find this helpful, definitely click on that thumbs up, pound that like button. And if you're a new-time viewer, don't forget to click on that subscribe button as well as the post notification, and stay connected with us on Steemit, Twitter, as well as Facebook. And sign up for our mailing list as well too. And you can do that by going to CryptoTradersRoom.com. And there are links at the bottom of this video. You can go to CryptoTradersRoom.com, fill out the brief questionnaire, and we'll get your application for our general Slack chat room. And that chat room is growing. We got some great active members, especially with Oni and Rocky Mountain. And there's a lot of people that have joined recently, and they're just, sharing some very good, valuable information. So, if that's something you're looking for, fill out that questionnaire, submit it. We'll get that questionnaire, we'll review it, and then, we'll be sending out invites. Oni, glad to hear that, man. Your entry on OMG is slow. You got to take it slow. If the way I'm reading it, if I think it's, what I'm thinking it is, you can't go all in. You got to scale into a position and then scale out of a position. Are there moments where I missed a trade by a 1 cent spread? Oh, dude. Yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit. Violet Reborn. Yeah, and welcome, by the way. So on Bitfinex, let's see, on Bitfinex, it's happened to me a couple times. So on Bitfinex, depending on which cryptocurrency it is that you're trading, you can trade up to 4, 5. I think 5 is the highest decimal points. So I'm going to use, let's see what I can use as an example. I'll use SAN as an example. So there's times where, I put an offer for, 70 cents. And it wouldn't get executed because it would get to 0.70001. So, and that's happened to me a couple times. And I'm just like, man, this sucks. Like I'm very close to getting that bottom, but it's just not hitting it because I'm missing it by like, a fraction of a penny. So I started putting all my orders in for, I would put a 1 at the end. So, if I was going to trade SAN, it would be, and the entries that I've had on SAN were, 0.55001 and then 0.45001. So depending on, which cryptocurrency it is you're trading, some of them will only allow you to trade up to 2 decimal points. Like BTC is only up to 2 decimal points. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. BTC is only up to 1 decimal point. F and everything else, it can be 2 to 5 decimal points. So I would always put in, that extra 1 at the end. If you want to buy SAN at 40 cents, put in 0.40001. Now you can go a little higher if you want. But yeah, I've missed a lot of trades, and I'm sure it's happened to a lot of people. I'm sure it happened to you, or you wouldn't be asking that question, is what I'm assuming, Violet. But yeah, it happens. It happens to the best of us. I missed some great trades on Ether way back in the day, by like 15, 20 cents. I mean, this is when it would, go up like $8, $9, and then it would come down $6, $7, and then go right back up $10. I mean, these $8, $9, $10 swings were great. And I was trying to catch the bottom. I wasn't trying to scale in. And I'd get within 15 cents, and then one time I got in within like 75 cents, and I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, I just got to scale into this position. Yeah, it could dip further, but I got to have capital left over to be able to add on to that position. You were asleep, man. Crypto works for you. You don't work for crypto. I like that. I always tell a lot of people that I kind of talk to, I'm like, I don't work for money. Like I want my money to work for me. And, that's what it's doing in crypto. Money's working for you, and it works 24/7. Now it can go up, it can go down. Unfortunately, going up is great, but yeah, don't work for money. Let the money work for you. That's the best way to look at it. Yes, Tony, pound that like button. Pound it. Smash it. Okay, so gotcha. So your entry was low. That's great, man. That is great. And I'm sure a lot of people got a low entry on OMG. I'm sure they did. Let's go ahead and take a look at OMG. To 20 by the end of fourth quarter. Now there was news about OMG. They just signed something with McDonald's in Asia. Yeah, it definitely could. I mean, it definitely could. It's going to have up and down swings, of course. I mean, here's a perfect example of a up and down swing. I mean, it made a crazy run at 11:35, and then basically, and these are 1 hour candlesticks. So within 1, 2, 3, 4, within 6 hours, it came down to 950 or 945. So that's a huge swing, from that 11:35 to 945. So I mean, these dips do happen. So, when I talked about earlier, mistakes that traders make, chasing something's going up so high. And I'm sure there were people that chased this thing. They were probably looking at this at 950 and saw it breaking out, and they didn't get in at 10. They didn't get in at 1050. They were like, all right, you know what? I'm buying this thing at 11 because it could go to 15. They bought at 11. They didn't wait for the correction to happen. And when something goes up so fast, I mean, within 4 hours, 5 hours, it's gone up from 950 to almost 1150. It's going to come back down and retrace and retest those levels. Now, a lot of times they don't retest that exact level, and I'm surprised this retested the 950. A lot of times they'll just come down, maybe halfway. So if I was playing this thing, and I didn't chase it, and I was waiting for a pullback, that pullback would have been $10. That's the pullback that I would have been looking to play to get a little bit of a position to see what she's going to do. Is she going to dip down further, or is she going to hit that $10 and kind of go right back up? So I would have taken a little bit of a position at $10 and it got to 950. I probably wouldn't have taken a position at 950 because I would have probably assumed, okay, you know what, this thing could dip further. You know what, let me get a position in at 9. So then my cost average would be 950 instead of $10. But yeah, you got to wait for some of these pullbacks to happen. I mean, here's a big push right here and it pulled back. So a lot of times, traders will get in trouble because they end up buying at this top here and it dips on them, and they panic and sell close to that bottom where really they should be looking to add to that position, from $9 to $8 that it dropped. All right, let's look at this on a larger time scale. Yeah, I mean, every crypto is just moving up. It's moving up. I mean, there's a lot of money to be made. A lot of people are making money. But yeah, let's see if we can spot any type of patterns on this that we might have missed. Yeah, I can. I mean, don't place a trade based on this, but I can see this thing getting up to $15. I mean, it just looks like it's gearing up for even a massive push, especially on the 12-hour chart. I think it's a 12-hour chart that I was previously looking at. If I can get this thing to load. But yeah, so these are one-day candlesticks, 1 hour price action movement. But yeah, I mean, this thing could gear up for that $15. And if it does, it's going to pull back. It's going to have a pullback and then possibly a consolidation, in that $12 range, the 1150 range. But, this thing could push up high. I mean, just within the past 3 days, it's gone from $8 all the way to 11.35. Basically $3.35. Close to 50%, a little under 50% profit there. But yeah, anybody that's holding OMG, especially if you got in very low, if you're a long-term investor, I mean, don't sell. If you're a long-term investor, if your plan of action was to hold this long-term, but if your plan of action was not to hold this long-term, and you got in $5, $6, I mean, personally, I personally would be looking to lock in a little bit of the profit, in case it does have a crazy nice dip, and they can dip. Especially at that $11, $11.25 range, that would have been a great spot to take a profit. And then if you wanted to add more to it, then yeah, it drops basically, to 950. But yeah, RSI. So let's take a look at RSI. RSI tapped out way above 80 on this one, 83, 84-ish. Same thing right up here as well too. But not a major pullback. The RSI really didn't get below 30 on this. Here it did. I'm sorry, it got to 35. So it didn't get below 30. But yeah, below 30, I think, people would have piled in a lot higher and really taken this thing to hit all-time high, to make a new high above that 1135. But yeah, it held pretty steady, close to 40. Oh, wow, it's 11:30. Didn't even realize the time. All right, we're going to take a look at just some of the cryptocurrencies real quick. Neo, Vertcoin, and DGB. And then I'll have to end this live stream. But let's go ahead and take a look at Neo real quick. Yeah, Ark, those are great positions to be in. Those are great positions to be in. Jing, you're in time, man. You're perfectly coming on now where I'm going to be talking about Neo. It's not going to be a very long conversation on Neo. I didn't realize it's 11:30 already. And I still need to do another side-by-side comparison with PIVX, not in the sense of the actual price, but just in the actual chart, just to see if it's breaking down exactly like PIVX kind of broke down. But yeah, one thing that really, I'm not in this position at all. I do not have a position in this. But one thing that really would scare me about this, and I remember this thing coming down to that 753, but it maintained above it. It maintained way above it for a good period of time, that 850. But this is a little scary here. This drop here is a little scary. There's more to this than I think we know. And somebody knows something that we don't know. But for it to really go from 800 and let's just say 880,000 Satoshis down to 759,000 Satoshis. I mean, that's a big drop for it. That's a very big drop. I think that came down to what, maybe $26, something to that extent. Actually, the 24-hour low was 662,000 Satoshis. So yeah, I think this might have been like $26, something to that extent. But yeah, if this was just somebody that was selling to lock in profit, and there was nothing that was really crazy that might be happening with Neo, in the sense of bad news that somebody might know of that hasn't really come out yet, or somebody somehow, some way they were able to uncover something about Neo, and the general public just doesn't know about it yet, and they decided to sell, then yeah, it's going to cause this massive dip. But this should have come right back up to where she was. But more than likely, there's just something with this chart that I don't really know what's happening with Neo currently right now. But yeah, this chart does not look good, especially with that massive dip. But yeah, it should have come right back up to that 880,000 or 875,000 Satoshis. But for it to come up, and this is basically people having their lowball offers in the book. That's why it came up. If nobody had really crazy lowball offers in, and probably, at a very sizable position, this would not have come back up to that 600 or 822,000 Satoshis from 650,000 Satoshis. It would not have. So it's really the buyers that had a lowball offer in at probably a very sizable position caused this thing to kind of make it right back up. But, people are selling. They're definitely selling this thing. And, long term, it doesn't look good. Short term, I mean, you could play these nice little bounces. I mean, and I've talked about them before. A lot of these are just, little fake outs, or they're just a dead cat bounce. They'll bounce for a little bit to kind of trap people thinking that, okay, you know what, this is the bottom. This is the time to kind of go in. And then what do you know? It just dips right back down on you. And we can probably see some of these fake outs, especially right here. It starts to really get up there at 125,000 Satoshis, or I'm sorry, 1.013 or 0.012 is what it got to. People probably thinking, or traders were thinking that, what, this is gearing up to break all-time high of that 0.014. But what do you know? It breaks right back down. So, you will have a lot of these little fake outs. And as long as you're not holding this thing long term, you can capitalize off of this, off these nice little dead cat bounces or fake outs. But yeah, there's more to the story, or more to this chart, I think, than we're able to see and know of. But yeah, people are taking profits. I mean, you got to remember too, there's a lot of traders I got in this 5, 6, 7, 10 bucks, 11 bucks, 20 bucks, whatever it might be. And they're still in the profit. You know, they probably had a bigger of a profit before. Now their profit is dwindling a little bit. So they could get psyched out and just say, you know what, I was up like 300% and now I'm only at 50%. You know, I'm just going to sell. I'm going to get out of this position and be happy with what I have. No, Osiris, I did not know that at all. So the Neo drop was due to the Red Pulse coin. I've not even heard of Red Pulse coin. Oh, I'm sure people loaded on Neo. I'm sure they did. I mean, this was at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. I mean, they definitely loaded. I didn't hear anything about it being blocked in China. Daniel, strong hands. Hopefully you got some strong hands, buddy. Strong hands. I probably won't be able to cover Monaco, to be honest with you, because I still got to look at VERT and DGB, and it is getting to about 11:36 my time. The DGB a high flyer today, 27%. That's not bad. It's an ICO for Neo. So, I mean, if they start blocking, a lot of these ICOs that are being created on their platform, yeah, that's going to cause, that's bad news. That is bad news. That is not good at all. The Chinese Ethereum is having, things that are being built on this blockchain banned or blocked. That is not good for it at all. Yeah, Tony, next time I will definitely cover it, man. You just got to definitely remind me. And it all depends, I guess. Maybe I'll look at it depending on how long I cover DGB and VertCoin for. I remember looking at this. I mean, this is, whew. And I think I just remember looking at it and saying, wow, this is an ugly chart. Very ugly chart, but you know what? It's found a bottom. It has found a bottom. On the fundamentals, on the technical side, it's found a bottom. On the fundamental side, I don't know what's going on with DigiByte, to be honest with you. I really don't, to have caused this type of massive push. But you got to remember too, news and fundamental analysis kind of trumps technical analysis. So just because it's bottomed out and it's found a happy bottom, does not mean that's possibly the bottom. So any bad news that comes out, can cause this thing to even dip further, or any news that comes out. So, fundamental analysis will trump technical analysis on this one completely. But yeah, this thing has been beat down from June, completely beat down. And like I said, I mean, if DigiByte is something that you're interested in and something that you believe in, and you believe in the project, I mean, this is not the time to go all in, because you like I said, I mean, if anything comes out on the fundamental side of bad news that's coming out with it, it can cause a much more of a bigger drop. But, to take a little bit of a position and see what it does, I mean, that's not a bad idea at all. I don't know if I would do it at 411, considering it's up 27%. I mean, you would have had to basically, put that in at like, maybe 300 Satoshis, 275,000 Satoshis. I'm sorry, 275 Satoshis, or 260 Satoshis. 300, under 300 Satoshis is basically what I would be looking to see, if it gets down to it. This could be a dead cat bounce. I mean, this thing probably has tons of, and these are one-day candlesticks we're looking at. This thing probably has tons of, little or major dead cat bounces. So this went from 415 all the way up to 841. Almost 100% profit right there within those, 3.5, 4 days. So, but gave it back. So this isn't something I would hold long-term at all, unless you're holding a very small position. Now, if you have a very sizable position in this and you decide to get in at this level, I mean, you're going to have that resistance at 840 Satoshis. There is going to be a resistance. That's completely where it attempted to break out and it just couldn't break out. So was that just a little mini pump that happened? More than likely, no, because it would have definitely gone up a lot higher. But I mean, this has the ability to drop further. It definitely does. So this is not something I would say, you know what, man, let me load the boat on this and hold. I mean, it could have a pump and it could pump up to that, 900 Satoshis, but I would only play this with just a very small position. And if it dips further, add a little more. But, in my opinion, I mean, it could be finding a very happy bottom. But yeah, I mean, if you get in at this point, I mean, this could just stay at this point and just continuously consolidate. That's the best. That's the best thing that could happen with this if you have a position at this level here. But if you don't have a position in this, I would wait to see if it finds a bottom. And that's where I would add a little bit on. And if it dips further, and add a little bit more on from there. But yeah, this is not looking good at all for anybody that bought this back in June. And I think, it was being hyped. I mean, there was a lot of people talking about it. And I think I remember back in June on the live streams, a lot of people asking me to take a look at it. And I'm like, this is up way too high, way too fast. Now this could happen again, to where this is the bottom that it finds and it's consolidating for X amount of period. And then it has another crazy push up because there's possibly news that's going to be coming out. And I can't remember, was it DigiByte? And somebody correct me if I'm wrong. They basically fluffed the news. They put out an announcement of an announcement. And I remember talking about that on the live stream, but I can't remember if it was DigiByte or not. And that announcement was about a meeting with Citigroup. And I kind of looked at it and I was like, why would they put out an announcement about an announcement unless they're trying to fluff the price of the coin? I'm like, that's exactly what they're trying to do. I'm like, if it was good news that was going to be happening, with the meeting with Citigroup, they would not be talking about it at all. They did not want this thing to be completely pumped, until that good news really comes out, because then it gives them and their families and their friends time to load up, which is insider trading, of course. But I think that was what happened. And I'm trying to read the comments and see exactly if somebody can confirm that. Okay, yeah. So Ark, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So it was DigiByte then, and I do remember that. So they lost Citibank contest hype, a Minecraft failure to integrate into game. But yeah, I remember somebody mentioning that, and I'm like, think of this outside the box, and I'm like, they're fluffing the news. That's exactly what they're doing. If there was good news, why wouldn't they just release the good news? Why would they talk about, hey, we got a meeting with Citigroup on this day? They're trying to pump their stock or pump their coin. That's all that they were looking to do. All right, Vert. I think Vert was the last one. And then I'll try to get to some of the comments. VTC is at the ticker for it. Yeah, I wouldn't say DGB's finally waking up. I mean, it's having that little dead cat bounce. Waking up would be, a very large candlestick with a good amount of volume. And I didn't see the volume on those candlesticks. They didn't look impressive at all. Really, I mean, it could also be that, somebody's accumulating and accumulating and accumulating for the pump that would happen, a couple of weeks from now or X amount of days from now. That's also a possibility. Daniel, I think I forgot to kind of answer your question, but yeah, I mean, for BTC, if you're going to put in a lowball offer for BTC, I mean, I would look at that 3,900, 3,800. If you want to be somewhat aggressive, if you want to be very conservative, 3,600 bucks. It's kind of what I would put a lowball offer in before going to bed. Picked it up at 320 Satoshis. Not bad, Matthew. Not bad. But yeah, have a plan. I don't know what your plans are with the 3,000. I mean, if it goes up to, 640 Satoshis, do you plan on still holding? I mean, you just got 100% profit. Somebody was just like, hey, I'll give you 100% of your profit or 100% of what you put in. So have a plan of execution. I wouldn't recommend selling everything at once. I wouldn't, because if it does go higher, then you're going to kind of kick yourself and say, man, I should have held on to it. And if that keeps happening continuously, then you're going to end up holding the wrong thing and it's going to crash on you and you're going to have a very sizable position. So stick to a plan, of saying, okay, you know what? I bought this at 320 Satoshis. If it goes up to 640, I'm going to lock in whatever it is, 10%, 20%, of the coins that you bought. Yeah, so DGB was the one that fluffed the news. Yeah, dude, they're fluffing the news. And I mean, it could happen anytime with any cryptocurrency. Um, they could definitely fluff it. And you just got to think outside the box as to why you think they're making that announcement. And I've seen that happen before, and I've seen it over and over again. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. And it's haunted me, to be honest with you. I've gotten caught in that. And I'm like, oh, this is great. They just made an announcement about, a meeting that they're having. And I'm like, oh, snap. It came back to bite me because I got in that trade. This is a while back in the stock market. Oh, Vert. Yeah, I mean, look at this crazy pump. I don't know about Vert. I don't know what's going on with Vert. Five days of continuously selling. A lot of selling within those 5 days, within the past 5 days. I wouldn't take a position at this level at all. I mean, if you wanted to wait a little bit, I would look at that 9,000. I mean, with a lot of these trades, I mean, you got to be patient with them unless there's really good news that's out and it's not FUD that's being spread. And if there's good news that's out, yeah, continuously, it's going to keep moving higher and higher and higher and higher. So, but unless there's good news that's coming out on Vert, yeah, the technical side of this doesn't look too good. Really, that 9,000, maybe it's 10,000, I would say. And I'm basing that on, the little peak here, as well as this peak here, as well as when it decided to come down, it basically retested, those peaks. And that's basically what I would be kind of patient for. If Vert was something I was interested in and I actually, liked the technology behind what they were doing. But no, dude, I would not touch this right now with a 10-foot pole. During a massive bull run, should people cancel their sell orders until it is over? I mean, you want to lock in profit. I wouldn't sell everything at a very specific price, but I would start locking in profits periodically here and there. Let's just say hypothetically, you had 50, F, maybe start selling 2 as it's moving up, because you really don't know exactly at what point is it going to turn around. And is it a true sustained massive bull run? I mean, do you have the data to back that up? More than likely, we don't. More than likely, this could be a manipulation. And we got to remember, I mean, this is a very thinly traded market. It can be heavily, heavily, heavily manipulated. It doesn't matter what cryptocurrency it is. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't cancel my sell order. I would start taking incremental profits. That's really what I would do. That's a strategy that I would play. Because really, if you cancel your sell order, whatever it is that you're selling, and it decides to dip, you didn't lock in those profits. So yeah, you got to lock in those profits. Matthew, that's a great strategy, man. That's a great strategy. Sell 50% at 700 Satoshis and then keep the rest because it paid for itself. Yeah, now you're playing with house money, and that's perfect. Playing with house money is great. But yeah, as long as you have that strategy, just stick to that plan. Always stick to your plan. Let's see, a couple more questions, and then I do have to end this this live stream. Oni, if you're heading out, dude, adios, buddy. I don't know if you were saying you were heading out. Oh, your router's out. I'm sorry to hear that. Siacoin project. I don't know, man. I mean, there's a lot of competition with what they're doing, cloud storage. So they're not the only player in the market. Are they better than some of the other ones? I don't know. I really don't know. Take care, Oni. Have a great day, buddy. Vert with atomic swaps. That's what people hyped. Yeah, it's crazy. And the push up for Ether too, it could be due to OMG doing a drop. I don't know when they're doing the drop, but they are doing a drop to any Ether holders. So if you're holding Ether, they will be doing a drop. But and I think that might be sometime in September. So when they do the drop, that could have an adverse effect on the actual price, but we'll see. Always buy and sell for the same amount of fiat. Then you accumulate profit as F. Yeah, dude. I mean, to accumulate profit in F and BTC, I mean, those are really what's paying off. And those are really the two cryptocurrencies that are paired heavily with other cryptocurrencies. Litecoin is not paired too much with a lot of the cryptocurrencies. So, but yeah, F and BTC. I mean, you can't go wrong. If you ask me to take a look at XVG on Friday, I will gladly take a look at it, but it is 11:50 and I do have to end this live stream, unfortunately. But Violet, not a problem. I'm glad you found the advice helpful. And if you did, please click on that like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, and this goes to anybody that's on this live stream, click on that subscribe button as well as the post notification. And let's see, other question. What time do I usually stream? So what I would recommend is, because the live streams were very consistent. They were usually at 10 a.m. But with a lot of things that are going on, it's not going to be always at 10 a.m. But it can be anywhere from 9:30 a.m. to 12, in the afternoon, basically. So there could be a gap of about 2.5 hours where I'll have the ability to do the live stream. But yeah, the best way to be notified is to click on that post notification. And I always do my best to try to schedule these live streams half an hour before they actually start. So if you have clicked on that post notification, which is a little bell icon next to the subscribe button, then you'll be notified. Well, you should be notified by YouTube, indicating that there is a live stream that is scheduled. But if you haven't done so already, click on that like button as well as the subscribe with the post notification. Stay connected with us on Steemit, Twitter, as well as Facebook. And then sign up for our mailing list. You can sign up for our mailing list by going to CryptoTradersRoom.com. And basically, it's doing two things. You're signing up for our mailing list as well as, filling out a questionnaire to get access to our general chat room. And that general chat room is growing with people really sharing some valuable information. And, the value is there, and there's some great guys that, have some great technical aspect to some of these cryptocurrency market. And there's somebody, that has the fundamental side of it. So it's a great community to be able to converse and to keep the conversation going past this live stream. And really it's open 24/7. It never closes. It's just a matter of, somebody in a different time zone being awake at the same time that you're awake and wanting to chat about cryptocurrency. So, if you are part of our general chat and you've been active, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Because that's really the only way that this channel is going to grow, or the Slack chat is going to grow. I'm losing my voice today. But yeah, sharing valuable information and just, converse, say what's up, be active. And that's really the only way that channel will grow. Yeah, not a problem, Matthew. Definitely, man. Friday will be hopefully a good day. Hopefully a good day for ETH. I can see this thing hopefully breaking that 400 and maintaining that $400 level and consolidating it. Any good news that comes out, man, 40-50% increase from that $400 is going to do wonders to ETH. Tony, not a problem. Enrique, thank you so much for joining, guys. I do appreciate it. I'll run down some names. Enrique, Tony, Matthew, Violet, the Warple. Thank you guys so much for joining. I do appreciate it. Rocky Mountain, Oni, I don't know if you're still on here, buddy, but thank you so much. Tony, Daniel, Strong Hands, Osiris, 12. Some great names on here, some new names that I am seeing. And, make yourself a regular. Keep coming back. Don't be shy. Ark, Keebs, welcome, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I do appreciate it. Sarah, welcome. But yeah, thank you guys for joining. Enjoy your midweek. It's Wednesday, so hopefully great things will happen with this cryptocurrency market, and hopefully the positions that you're in will make a run and make you some money. But have a plan. That's the only thing I would highly recommend with anybody trading. It doesn't matter if you're new or not. Just have a plan. Be patient. Don't chase the hype. Don't become part of the FOMO chasers. You know, be patient with your trade. And as long as you're patient with your trade and you get an entry in, you're going to be happy with that trade. You know, if you FOMO and buy, more than likely you're going to panic and sell. But if you're patient with it and you looked at the support and resistance and where that hard support is, where that soft support is, or first area, second area, third area, and you end up getting a great entry to where, you know, you got in at the second, you know, support line and it dips a little further, that's okay, you know, because you waited for it, you were patient with it. But if you chase something that's running up so high and you end up getting in a position and it dips on you, more than likely you're going to panic and sell because, you know, you didn't do your research, you weren't patient with it. So patience is a big factor when you're trading cryptocurrency. But thank you guys so much for joining. I do appreciate it. Until Wednesday, this is Crypto Trader and CryptoTraders Room. Have a great day. Peace and love and nothing but the utmost respect.